ASMR for those who have autism and potentially social anxiety. I hope this video somewhat and somehow can relax you more. What we're going to do in this video is sit back, relax, talk about autism, but mainly focus on how to help yourself become a better person with autism. Now, I have autism myself. I think it's pretty clear that I got it. But nonetheless, I want to speak about it whilst also performing some sounds, triggers, talking about my upcoming and upbringing as a kid who had autism, still has autism. As there are still a lot of people nowadays that do not know what autism is and how it works. Well, you have different forms of autism, many different ones. A very common one is also classic autism. I had a kid in my class who had classic autism. It sounds weird, kind of funny, but very strange indeed. And I completely understand if you're not used to someone with autism, it can be confusing the first time. So, in order for that, I have something that the OGs will remember. I had to get a new one, but you know. I'm turning 22 next week. I got diagnosed with autism when I was 6, 7 years. Autism is not a disease. It's not something that you're able to cure. It's a genetic thing. And I know I got it from my dad 100%. Like, come on. Me and him are like the exact same. He gets pissed off very quickly, so do I. It's not necessarily autism, it's just we both get triggered very quickly and easily. But that can have an effect if you have autism 100%. You don't like getting told what to do. Neither do I. But that's just a way of growing up. You just gotta accept that shit and just move on. Autism or not, bro. That's just a part of life. Accept it, That ain't no excuse at that age. It smells like cat pee. I was always different than the other kids. Different behavior, socially very awkward. I am not that anymore. No, matter of fact, I kind of like being around people, especially my friends. They're cool people. And I totally get what you feel like, getting judged by others. I used to get made fun of because of the fact that I had autism. See, people in the city are different than in the village. In a village, you grow up pretty tight with people. Everyone knows each other. In a city, it's different. You know what I mean? And I get it. It sucks getting treated different just because you have something. Pisses me off even to this day. I tell people, don't treat me different. Just treat me like everyone else. That's all I ask. I don't expect and I don't want to get treated different or blah blah blah. I just want to be like everyone else. Treated normally. That's all I ask. In some situations, there is very obvious that I do not know how to approach a thing. And some situations that I approach very good. I'm going to show you something just now that I used to do as a kid, as it was my form of communication. I think you'll like it. This brings back the memories. Wow, I feel like I'm 15 all over again. Let's do this. Alright, so I have a tab of sticky notes. some triggers. When I was a kid, what I used to do, I don't do this no more. Don't know, I don't think lost passion for it. I just stopped doing it because I had no need. I used to love making my own stories. As a kid, I used to make my own fairy tales in a book. And after that, what I used to do, as weird as it sounds, I don't know if this has necessarily got to do with being bored, having autism, or a combination, but I used to always, preferably thick paper. I didn't like thin paper because that shit never worked. It never worked. And it needed to be in a book so it maintained its place whilst I was drawing. I used to draw roads. What I'd do is, I'd start in a corner, and all these roads used to go and cross each other. And my teacher asked me one day in kindergarten or elementary, what does this mean? And I just said, it's my head. And I know it sounds very funny, and I don't blame you for laughing, because it is. Like, that's weird. Let's be honest, that's weird, right? It was my form and way of describing to someone, because I used to be very nonverbal. I never used to speak to people. Even those that I grew up with as a kid, I never used to speak to them. I was always very shy. But I think I was always very attentive. I'd rather not be surprised by anything, still to this day. I'd rather be cautious than be surprised, if you know what that means. I'm paranoid, still to this day, just like I was as a kid. I never liked people. Nowadays it's a bit of a different story. I have friends all over the country, all over the place, in other countries, so it's a different thing. But back in my times, I used to draw. And looking back, it sounds very silly, but it was my way of communicating with people. Or if I was too scared to talk to someone, I used to just write what I thought in my head on a piece of paper. It reminds me of something. Just kidding, it's not funny. But you get the message. And a lot of people that have autism, especially as a kid growing up, some of them are nonverbal. So the only way for them to communicate often is a piece of paper. Well, nowadays, technology exists, back as a kid, we didn't have the iPhones, we didn't have the iPads and all that crap. You had to goddamn write everything down. We had the LGs and flip phones as a kid growing up, so nowadays kids be growing up with a hell of a lot of technology, which is interesting, but also scary in some situations. My sister, for instance, she's not even 5 yet. She's got her own personal phone. She's had it since she was 3, like 2.5, 3. She's very smart, and she knows how to turn it on and how to turn it off. If you'd given me a phone like hers as a kid, I wouldn't know what to do with it. Strange, right? Different times. Very interesting. I used to always think that having autism was a disease. Why I mention this is because I'm not ashamed to admit it. I used to get professional help back as a kid because my parents didn't know how to approach me and my behavior because I had autism. They didn't know how to approach that, and in certain situations they didn't know how to deal with it because my brother, he didn't have autism. He didn't have everything that I had as a kid growing up, behavior-wise. So I think the first thing started at 9 or 10 years old, maybe younger. His name was Dr. Bernie. He used to go to Spijkenisse. He worked there at the hospital. Spijkenisse, whatever the hospital was called, I forgot. It's still standing. He helped me a lot. He helped me open up more about my feelings, my expressions, and then I had Dr. Ansgar in the Voetsluis. I don't know where he is nowadays, but I do hope he's doing well. I owe a lot to those two. Because as a teenager, when I was 12, 13, 14 growing up, it was different. I used to have a lot of rage. Not roid rage. I may hit the gym, but not like that. But they helped me a lot, and they helped my parents a lot. And I let my parents go through awful stuff. Looking back upon it, I wish certain things were different, but can't do much about it, you know. I mean, can't do anything. It's what it is. It's the past. And as weird as it sounds, I don't feel like I have autism anymore. I know how to control it, if that makes sense. I know when to say no to people. I know what I like and I know what I don't like. I know what's right and what's wrong. It's weird, but when I was a kid, there was this whole pages and pages of what I'm good at, less good at, feedback. I went to special school as soon as I turned 6 years old. It wasn't easy, but it was helpful. This is also something I used to do, never mentioned it. I used to make origami, whatever that is called, and I used to just scissor. See, I often don't tell people at this age that I have autism. Why, you may wonder? Because I feel like it's not relevant. Whenever I do get to know someone and I've known them for a while, I say, listen, I do have autism, you do. I don't notice a thing. As if seriously said, dude, I haven't noticed anything odd or weird about you. You seem like completely normal. Well, you would have not been able to say that 5-6 years ago when I was a whole different person. Okay, I want to show you something quickly. There's this balloon, and this balloon, in certain situations, when you blow air into it, this happens. I want you to imagine that this is your brain. The smallest thing can trigger someone with autism, ADD, ADHD, PDD, NOS, OCD, etc. Now I do want to let you know that autism is different than Down syndrome. Down syndrome means they have 47 instead of 46 chromosomes, a whole different thing. It's not the same, it's completely different, alright? But there are also people, do not get it twisted, very intelligent. Very intelligent. I've met some people with Down syndrome, and you'd be surprised how smart and how phenomenal they are and kind they are. They are, without a doubt, if I can say from my own experience, one of the kindest, if not kindest people in the entire world. Because on an emotional level, they're just like us, or they can be just like us. It's just often speech impediments. They don't know how to talk, or they don't know how to describe, but they communicate with words and sounds. Fascinating, really interesting. As a kid, when I grew up, I used to often be happy, but whilst being happy at certain points, the smallest thing could trigger my autism, and then went from happy to angry. And that's what I want you to consider the next time having a bad day, or something triggers you that you have to think before you do something, and that's definitely something that I've been able to teach myself, that I'm at the age now that using or saying that I have autism is no longer a reason to be angry or act different. In some situations in life, you have to act your age, regardless of if you're disabled, have a disability, or whatever. You have to act up. Because let's be honest, if you're 35 years old, you're watching this video, and you have autism, and you act like a dumbass, that's on you, sir, or ma'am, or whatever you are, you know. That ain't no reason, and that's the fortunate truth that a lot of people don't like to hear. Some things just aren't acceptable, regardless if you have autism. If it's like me, no reason to be like that. It's all up in there. Okay, that was quite funny. Do you get the message? Good. That's all I wanted to tell you. Besides that, my upbringing wasn't easy. Oh no, it really wasn't. It was more because, like I said, it's really weird to explain, but like I said, I used to get bullied a lot as someone who had autism. Why, I never know. I mean, it was very obvious. I was always different, but I never understood why I used to get bullied by people or made fun of. And I remember this specific one time, because I didn't know how to communicate like the other kids back in the days at football. I was 14, 15. I will never forget it. I've never forgotten it till this day. When I regularly used to play with the C1, as it was called nowadays. It's numbered, but back then it was alphabetic, so you had to say C3, C2, C1. I was in C3, and I would sometimes play with the C2 and C1, as they didn't have a goalkeeper and needed someone. And I remembered when we were warming up just before a match, and yeah, they were making fun of me. Look, I'm Keegan, I have autism, ha ha ha. And in the back of my mind I was like, that hurt me. You know, like, what's funny about it, dude? In the back of my mind I was like, yeah, don't understand what's funny about it. I can't do anything about it. I have a thing that I'm born with. Sorry that I'm not like you, bro. Like, you wanna medal, and it's those things that I definitely struggle with growing up. Was accepting the fact that, unfortunately, there are people that will treat you different just because you have autism, in a positive and in a negative way. But luckily, I can say for most part of my life, it was positive. It was always very unfortunate that there were some people in between that looked upon you as ill or this and that, and it's sad, but you know what? It says a lot about them as a person, really, if that's how they treat you. Like, I don't treat people different, disability or not, or whatever they have. You're still a human to me. I don't care if anything's wrong with you physically, mentally. If you're a cool person, then I'm cool with you. So I thought I'd just let you know. That's the video today. There's nothing else to add, really. I thought this video can somehow relax you. That definitely brought out some memories. Let me just step on it for good old time's sakes. I remember I used to have that $1 mic